Alright, that there is the full island of Dragonera. Oops. Pretty cool profile to it. It's a funky shape of an island, and it's just off the northwestern tip of the main part of Mallorca. This behind us here is the harbor of Benedros. And it was a really cool area. All the hillsides around last night were all lit up with houses all over the place, and the cliffs are so beautiful. Lots of activity, lots of wealth. I think there's, it's considered a very chic area to visit. In some ways it reminded us a little of Capri. Not from any of the geology, but just, you know, the amount of wealth was around there.
All right, we are on our way from Mallorca over to Ibiza. It's about 50 miles. We're almost there. We've had a glorious sail. It's been winds on our beam, and it's been about 10 to 12 knots or so. We've got the code 0 out. We've been screaming along here at 7, sometimes 8 knots. So it's just been perfect. It's been not too rolly as far as seas, and it's been making our passage just perfect. So.
Hi, I'm Tom.
And I'm Karen.
Welcome to Life 4.0, where we share our adventures of life on board our sailboat as we explore this amazing planet, one anchorage at a time.
This summer, we're crossing much of the Mediterranean, from Greece to Italy, Malta, Spain, including passing out through the Gibraltar Strait, then along the Portuguese coast before we finish in the Galicia area of northwest Spain.
We spend at least half of the year sailing, and the remainder enjoying the beautiful New England region of the United States.
And we've seen quite a few sailboats and a couple powerboats going this way. It seems like it's sort of the common direction to go from sort of the northern part of Ibiza over to Mallorca and Palma, that area. So it's kind of like a little highway here. It's kind of fun to watch the other boats going the other way and see how they're doing, the wind conditions as well. So. All right, we're getting closer to our anchorage on Ibiza. See a nice lighthouse here. It's kind of an unusual pattern to the colors on the lighthouse, sort of a Cape Hatteras sort of style. And some great looking caves there. If it wasn't so windy, we might be inclined to check that out. We ended up dousing the sails, the code 0, because it was way too much for it in retrospect. We had about 20 knots of apparent, 20 knots of true, and it was really hard to furl in. It's a continuous furling line here that goes around a drum, comes back, and when I was furling it in, as I would pause to get another grip to pull more in, it would slip through the furler, way down there. It would slip through the furler, and like some of the sail or most of the sail would go back out again. So I kept, you know, it was like one step forward, one step back, and ended up being 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And eventually we got it to furl, but it's got a really, can't really see it behind the jib, but it's got a bad wrap on it, and it could come unfurling like it did in Croatia with us out of hand. So we're either going to douse it on the deck, or if it's calm when we get into the anchorage here, we will unfurl it and do a better furling job, get a better wrap on it. But this is Ibiza, northern coast. It's certainly been a vigorous sail today, lots of wind, and that's been good. Just a little bit hairy here at the end. I'm still tired from trying to furl the code 0 in. It took a lot of energy, and just it was a little nerve-wracking. Not sure if we could get it all the way in.
All right, our first night in Ibiza, and the sun is going down, and we are in the large cala called Chiraka Kala. And there's a whole bunch of boats here, and lots coming and going. It's I think isn't it about 7:30 or 8? And this boat here is just arriving. That blue powerboat just arrived a few minutes ago. So it's amazing. People go spend the day somewhere and then move around in the evening. But yeah, lots and lots of activity around, wakeboards, kneeboards, people going into dinner at the restaurants. So very active cove.
Both a little bit groggy this morning after a interrupted night last night, and it kind of started with some winds all of a sudden coming off the land, blowing north, and it was really freaky because the winds came up, which is okay, but then there was all of a sudden these like patches or periods of time where the wind was extremely hot. I mean, like 100-degree kind of hot, and it would blow by you. And the first time it did, I was like, did I just walk by like an engine exhaust or a open door to an oven or something like that? And then it would get a little bit cooler, and then it would have this all of a sudden this patch of like really hot air go by you, and that kind of freaked us out a little bit. But the real issue was this this super yacht over here, Enigma. They had anchored actually close to that super yacht down there, and there was a third super yacht down by the hotel there, which has already left this morning. But these guys were kind of anchored in the middle over here, and when the wind came up, they started dragging, which is really, I've never seen that with a super yacht before. Usually they've got a big enough anchor and responsible enough captain that they don't drag. And so they started dragging, and they all of a sudden started up their engine and started moving forward and went way up, well, to where they are now, but the boat was pointed this way. And they re-anchored, but they were kind of upwind from us. So that was a little bit alarming and just kind of unsettling to see a big boat like that dragging their anchor. They had all these lights on board, and also a bunch of underwater lights that were really bright, and they would flash and reflect off of the anchorage. And Karen called them on the radio repeatedly, but there was no answer, which was also concerning. Since they were navigating, had the running lights on, and they had nobody monitoring VHF. Eventually they answered, and they were nice. They said, yeah, we'll turn the underwater lights off, and it helped a lot because it just sort of, it blinds your vision at night and you can't see as well. And then we had a bunch of other boats moving. We had several boats that were, had a boat right next to us right here that ended up dragging way down by that large sailboat there. And so they picked up their anchor and came back and anchored right close to us without really putting a lot of chain out. So we kept having to sort of stay awake and monitor them. And then the wind would come and blow again from a new direction, ended up coming this way, which made all these boats close together there swinging unusual ways. So some of those boats left and were motoring around and idling around. So a lot of boats in motion at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, which makes it hard for us to settle down because we don't know where they're going to anchor and what their plan is. So needless to say, we had a restless night last night. And we've heard this is kind of common, that there's sudden winds that come down. Used to be called the Bora Bora when we're up in the Adriatic. So we'll have to keep a watch out for that on the rest of Ibiza here. But we have a calm day this morning. I think we're going to head out and do a couple lunch stops at some calas nearby and find a new place to call home for the night.
So we're along the north coast of Ibiza, coming by these crazy rocks. Do a little tip up. Whoops. And over here, we're coming up into Cala Ort. So I'm suspecting it means green rock. There's supposed to be a neat area to anchor, maybe stop for a lunch. It's supposed to be quite rocky. So we'll give it a try. But this is a pretty dramatic coastline through here. This is like this huge pillar of a rock right there.
A little too deep for us to anchor here. We're like a boat length away from the shore, and it's still 18 meters deep, so we're just doing a little drive-by here. It's really, really cool. Would love to stop to swim or snorkel. There's a guy actually way over there snorkeling. Don't know how he got there. But very neat.
Okay, we're coming up to San Benedros. And this island stands off. It's pretty cool. It's got a whole bunch of holes in it, a natural arch and some holes up in the rocks. Like Tom said, there's more than one way for it to collapse. So, as they sometimes do. So we're gonna round this corner and see if this might be a place to be an anchorage for the evening. And in fact, it was a wonderful anchorage, protected by high cliffs and a set of small offshore islands that offered some great snorkeling and beautiful views. Several boats came and went throughout the afternoon, but by sunset we were all alone. It always makes you think, is there something everyone else knows that we haven't yet stumbled upon, being all alone as we are? All right, sunset on the north coast of Ibiza. This is the island over here of Isla Margaritas, and pretty sunset. There's a lot of clouds around, but we get to see, you know, I think sometimes clouds are the best part of a sunset because you get to see all the great shapes the light on the clouds makes. All right. We had a peaceful evening and most of the overnight, but with the morning came a significant swell pattern from the north and building winds. Being stern-tied to some rocks to keep our nose pointed outward, we were eager to release ourselves and move along. We would round this point, which is the island of Conillera, off the northwest tip of Ibiza, then make our way along the eastern shore.
Checking out the kind of east coast of Ibiza. We got lots of interesting caves and houses clinging to the shore, stairs coming down, like fishermen's sort of sheds built into the rock there. Lots of cool places to explore. We did a provisioning stop down there at a town called San Jose. Got what we needed, mostly fruits and vegetables, and now we're on our way again. Wow, it's like a big cave over here. Right up here, that big sharp island up there is called Isle de la Vedra. Can't really anchor there, it's pretty rocky, but there is an anchorage right around the corner up here. We're going to try that out, and apparently it's got some nice sunset views looking over that Isle de la Vedra. Big schooners coming around. In front here, looks like they're getting ready to anchor from Malta. Yeah, they're slowing down a little bit. They may be coming right down next to us by the time they anchor. We are just really amazed how many boats are here. I just do a little pan around the harbor. You can see how many boats are crowded into here. This is definitely the way it goes in Ibiza, apparently. Everybody's got a boat. There's a whole bunch of boats down there that are coming this way. A couple that are going the other way, but I'm trying to see where this guy is gonna park himself for the night. Catamaran coming in here. That's a beautiful boat and a nice backdrop. Yeah, collision course here. Just like in Dugi Otak. Whatever that was. Hurrying in to get the best spot. We've been here before. Doing little pirouettes here.
Wow.
And a little yellow skiff cutting in between.
Actually, the other guy had right away, right?
looking around here, it's just insane how many boats are piled in here. Karen was just saying that, like, you know, if the wind were ever to come up and get a storm come through, this would be just chaos because everybody would be too close to each other, dragging on their anchors and all that.
Tom was itching to experience the true party island aspects of Ibiza for some crazy reason, and this night would give us the perfect dose of crazy revelers who, as it seems, prefer to wear as few clothes as possible, if any at all.
A little bit of a party scene here. It's Cala Ort. Tons of boats here. And parties on many, many boats. We're hoping for a nice sunset. It's looking promising. We've had a few boats leave the harbor, but by and large, most people are still here. These guys have been partying all afternoon. People have been dinging up to them and joining up. It sort of reminds me of the Willie T in the Caribbean. We're leaving Cala Ort and heading over to Formentera today. It was totally crowded in the anchorage yesterday. Got a little better at the end of the night when boats left. Some of the boats left, but it was still very crowded. Lots of party scenes going on. But that's okay. It was quite the difference between the night before when we had nobody. We were the only people in the anchorage. So we're crossing over. It's maybe an hour or so across to Formentera. We're going to find a place to anchor there tonight. Taking one last view this morning of the Isle of Vedra offshore. Got some good wind as we leave Cala Ort and head across to Formentera. A little stormy out as we approach Formentera. We've avoided any rain so far. Had a vigorous sail, and we just furled the sails in. So, but I was just enjoying this nice tower on the point here. This is called Punta Negra, and where that catamaran is anchored is one of the options we're considering for tonight. There's a big anchorage here called Punta Seona or Cala Seona. I'm not quite sure which one. And you can see that there's a mind-boggling amount of boats down there. So we were told that it's crowded, jet skis, crazy people not knowing how to anchor and all that. So we may skip that, but just boats everywhere. Those people motoring upwind. The main town of Ibiza is right beyond where that inflatable is coming from. So it might be why it's so popular here, is it's easy access, and the airport is up there as well. Cool little point here. Tower, kind of close to water. Usually we see them up high on a bluff, but they didn't really have a lot to work with here.
We had just gotten settled off Punta Negra when Tom felt the need to participate in the clothing optional characteristic of our present location. No sooner had he dried off for lunch in the cockpit than we were slammed by a wild and energetic storm front.
Another crazy burst of rain here. We got a couple boats coming up the shore here.
Wow.
So we need to keep an eye on them. How do they get that signal actually?
Here's a tiny rental boat that people brought over for a day that they were thinking would be fun in the sun. This was actually pretty scary conditions for them to be out in. They are completely exposed to the rain and the wind and probably have very little safety equipment with them.
Something else over here, double-masted. Looks like they're going away from us, but I can't completely tell. They may actually be coming in here. So we had another boat come in right next to us here. Oh boy, more lightning.
Alright, it's all around us.
All around us. We've got waterfalls coming off the cliff over there. Like a flash flood situation. Wow, all the way along the cliff. There's a huge waterfall down there.
Wow.
Oh my god. Right there, side of that cliff.
Tom, we have
Wow.
to keep emptying this or
Yeah.
we're going to lose it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it would be even more runoff if it was steep land.
I
Can you
know.
imagine what that would be like?
I know it. Uh-huh.
Look at that. Wow. Jeez. I mean, that's a river coming across the land. I mean, if you got caught in that, it'd be dangerous. We decided to move from our spot in Formentera back there. It was all of a sudden got really big swells. The boat was rolling all over the place. It's gonna be totally uncomfortable overnight. So we're coming down here, down the sort of west coast of Formentera, the southern tip, and around the corner is a bay. Hope to find a better place to anchor there. It's kind of a toss-up because we've got swell coming down in this way, but then the wind is supposed to come the sort of 90 degrees to that, which we had picked a place that was protected from the wind before, and it was not protected from the swell, so we're hoping to find something that's protected from both. We're not the only people doing this. We've got like 4 sailboats behind us sailing down here. Kind of feels like the end of the world a little bit. Kind of is, because there's nothing much south of here until you get to Algiers or down that area, Algeria. Alright, get a better view of the lighthouse now. We're on the southern, very southern tip of Formentera. Hope to find a good place to anchor overnight around the corner from here. South side of Formentera, and we got a modern lighthouse, and we've got an old kind of circular guard tower, and a lot of wind in the wrong direction. To go ashore to what's called a blue bar, straight ahead there. Can't dinghy ashore, so we're going to be taking paddleboards.
So they have
Big ice cube?
ice cubes, yeah, that have a sort of strange center.
Something in the middle, yeah. All right, serve it up there, baby. It's going to be a tough sell for the sangria expert, but the view is pretty good, even if the sangria doesn't work out.
If you enjoyed this, please subscribe to our channel and click on the bell to get notified of new videos.
Throw down and jump on. There you go.
Thanks for watching.